Am I the a-hole for getting frustrated with my band's drummer? This is going to be... You better watch what you say here. Talking to the wrong gal. I, 27 male, am the lead guitarist in a band. I feel sorry for you. And we've been struggling with some ongoing drumming problems caused by our drummer. Surprise! 26 male, just to clarify. Don't get me wrong. He's a talented musician and overall great guy, but his drumming habits have become a constant source of frustration for the rest of the band. What do we think those... Before I read ahead, I want to make some educated guesses.
Should we? Yeah, let's try and guess what these things are going to be.
Right.
I haven't read it, so
no. I haven't read yet.
What are you going to go with first? What's the most annoying thing?
Too many fills.
Yeah, that's got to be number one. Too many fills. We're both in agreement to that. What else?
Maybe something like smells bad. Right.
Oh, I find that's more guitarists that smell bad than drummers. Yeah.
Drummers are stuck at the back. You can't really smell them that far away.
Yeah, I would go with guitarists over drummers.
So to my the continuing smelly guitarist friend, firstly, he has a tendency to overpower everyone during rehearsals. Does that mean he literally just decks these guys? No matter how many times we've discussed balance and dynamics, he just can't seem to rein it in. All right, Bonham, calm down. It's like he's in a constant battle with the volume knob on his drum kit.
We should have... That one's an obvious one. Yeah, okay.
All right,
but I have to say, before we go further, Emma, we discussed this. So, is it a drummer's responsibility to play quieter in a rock band? Let's just say we're in a rock band.
I'd argue in rehearsals, yes, honestly.
When you're in a small venue where, like, clearly the cymbals are, like, overpowering, do they need to learn how to hit the cymbals quieter whilst maybe keeping the intensity on the kick and snare?
Yep, you got to learn to shut up. The nicest possible way. It sucks. I once played a gig where there was literally a hole through the floor tom, and it was the wrong way up. And the sound guy came to me and said, "Can you hit the cymbals any quieter?" And I was like, "Honestly, not really." And he was just menacingly looking at me with some tape, basically. And I was like, all right. So we ended up taping up the cymbals, and it just sounded like just trash bin lids. It was so bad. Oh my God. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
The second reason that this guy is rubbish. Secondly, his timing can be a bit off. I feel like I'm about to get called out here, especially during live performances,
where he rushes.
It's becoming a running joke in the band that we need to follow the drummer's time during gigs. Alona better not watch this podcast because she'll go, "It's
drummer's time
Emma."
Is in quotation. Drummer's time.
Yeah, drummer's time is a lucid thing. You just feel it, man. We've tried metronomes, practicing with a click track, giving him visual cues. Basically, slow down, please. It's the panic in the eyes. That's the cue. That's what you normally see. They're like, "Oh, all right then." But the issues persist. Lastly, his drum kit setup is a nightmare.
This is a full-on dig at drummers, isn't it? This is going hard.
Has got something against this guy. He's got something against how old is he? Mr. 26 male. So... Right, you ready for this? He's constantly fiddling with the positioning of his drums and cymbals during rehearsal. Listen, sometimes everyone needs a bit of a fiddle. It's all right. It's all right. Gotta do what works for you, babe. It's like a puzzle that changes every time we play. I mean, with these rehearsal kits, good luck getting it to sit where you want it to sit. So I'm not that fair. I kind of just make do after a certain point. But I've brought these concerns up with him multiple times, trying to be constructive and find solutions together, but he often takes it personally. I wonder why, if you're going to just barrage this poor man with 3 different reasons why he sucks. Am I the a-hole for feeling frustrated and wanting our drummer to address these issues? Or should I just accept these quirks as part of the band dynamic? Well, if your name's Metallica...
Oh, I knew she was... Again, we're going straight. I was just waiting for it.
I'm about to get so much hate. Yep. How did you know? I love Metallica's first album. Right, Kill 'Em All, great, love it, amazing. But come on now. But yes, I don't. I mean, saying all of this stuff, I actually don't think that this person is the a-hole. Personally, I think these things are worth bringing up to a drummer because number one, how are they going to get better? And number two, like, these things affect the music overall and the band in general.
Yeah.
The drummer is a very important aspect, and especially in terms of playing too fast and not being able to play to a click track. That's quite important, especially if you want that band to actually get anywhere.
Yeah, as a modern drummer. Like, this is the thing, like, you go back to this, like, the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of rock and roll bands, and let's not name names again, but you could get away with more of this, and this happened. And maybe you could make that part of your style, right? Being sloppy, you know, you could take, there's bands that are very all over the place that, like, I don't know, like, again, we don't start naming names, but like the Baby Shambles or something like that, you know, like any of Pete Doherty's stuff is pretty chaotic live. It's you know, it's just about held together as a piece of music. And like he there's not, like, it's not a criticism, that's what makes them like what they are, right? So it's like, yeah, but if not, then no. And I think it's actually just a case of how you approach it. And if you say it in a way that's horrible, yes, you are. If you approach it constructively, no, you're not. If they don't change, yes, you're allowed to kick them out the band. And that's it. Like, as a drummer, this is your responsibility to fulfill your role within that band that is required.
Or at least be open to improving, even if it takes time, and like knowing what's up and being honest about that. Like for me, for example, if I got a bit of adrenaline going on and no click track, you can bet. Ask Alona.
I have one funny story to finish this particular one off with, actually, about this from my perspective, and what Emma said, like, they've got to learn somehow, and sometimes the harsh lesson might be that they need to get kicked out of the band to learn that for their next band. And it's like when you see your ex with another partner and they never wanted to travel the world, and now they're traveling the world, right? It's kind of the same. And it's like, how is he now playing in time? Like, what's going on here? You didn't do this for us. And I've seen this firsthand with bands, and it's the same kind of thing. But the thing that, for me, when I first hit this roadblock, and people still say I play too loud, as you will witness the last jam we did, Emma, I frustrated one of my teachers at school so much that they just pulled out of a production by playing too loud. And we were playing Rent the musical, right, which is a rock musical. Yeah. And so like, the drums are loud, it's a rock thing, so, and we had a loud drum kit, and so they ended up buying a new drum kit for me that was a quieter drum kit, still was a problem. So they ended up hiring a whole PA system just so that they could, in all fairness to the music department, they got the money together and because I was like, nope, as a drummer, you need to do this. And I don't know why they're listening to some 17-year-old telling them, like, what's what. And they got a big PA system. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised. If it was my student now, I'd be like, no, you learn how to play like that. And I didn't get taught. And the problem with that was it reinforced that bad learning, let's say, because when I then went to university and was doing auditions and stuff, like, I was, oh, right, now these people are also saying this, and I didn't get an audition because they asked me to play quieter, and I was basically like, you, I'm going to carry on playing at my volume. And lessons learned, you know, and potential bridges burnt.
God, I would have paid good money to be at that gig, and also with some good earplugs, and to witness that. Oh my God.
I also couldn't read music properly enough, really. That's
going to go well for a production of Rent.
Yeah. And obviously they loop bars and things round and round and round, and then there's like stabs that come out of it, so I couldn't memorize it all. So I'd memorized most of the parts fine, but obviously then there's points where you needed to be able to read to, like, know how many bars and when it's going to come out to what point it's covered out. And sometimes they would skip sections as well and be like, they're dropping down to this bit, and I'd be like, don't know what that signal means, so I'm just going to hit the crash louder.
Yes, we're going to go we're going to break it down to just a cappella. Am I the a-hole for being annoyed at my drummer boyfriend's habits? What? Picking his nose? What? I, 27 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 29 male, for almost a year now, and we share a lot of common interests. One thing that sets us apart, though, is his intense dedication to his drumming hobby. Oh boy. While I appreciate his passion, it's starting to become irritating to me. Here's the issue.
Okay. Again, let's pause. Is it going to be anything to do with tapping everywhere, beatboxing? Just those two things have got to be infuriating for someone.
Use her for like
yes,
tapping on all the time.
That one.
That's my theory. Are we ready?
That is good, and that's definitely got to be one of them. All right, let's go for it.
Here is the issue. He practices drumming at home almost every day. If you want to be really good, it's probably a good idea if you do. Yeah. It's great that he's committed to his craft, but the constant drumming, even if it's just tapping on surfaces with his finger, you got it, is starting to get on my nerves. I can't escape it. Even when I'm trying to relax or focus on something else, I've tried talking to him about it, explaining that I need some quiet time, but he doesn't seem to understand the impact his drumming has on our shared living space. There we go. He argues that it's his way of decompressing and expressing himself. I mean, that's valid.
Yeah, pretty fair.
I'm not hearing anything completely unvalid, but I also get it can get annoying as hell.
Can I just say, really simple solution to this? Just start learning an instrument as well and just play together. Or also learn the drums and then start tapping just as much and you'll find it less annoying, or they'll find it annoying and be like, okay, I'll stop tapping.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could go the passive-aggressive route and just start like banging surfaces dramatically loud.
No, but you have to actually be able to. You got to be playing a rhythm, because banging surfaces randomly and having a rhythmic thing is two very different things. So you have to.
I think no. Go passive-aggressive. It's coming from the drummer. I mean, I'm a bit of a weirdo. I don't do much tapping.
I know, we've had this conversation.
To a lot of people. I used to apparently at primary school. I remember someone distinctly getting annoyed at me, and it brought me great joy when they did get annoyed.
Yeah. I got kicked out of maths class once. I got those, those little like drumming pencils.
Oh no.
So I made a full drum set and was just like, I used to wind my maths teacher up so much. Just
it was maths class for me too.
Sorry, Mr. Jolly, his name was. Yeah. I know. He wasn't that jolly. No, he was sometimes. He was fair play, but yeah. I was always in lunchtime detention.
Stop playing drums, god damn it.
Oh dear. Anyway, continue.
While I want to support his passion, I'm finding it challenging to cope with the constant drumming at home. Now, if we're saying constant, are we talking constant? I mean, you just...
Yeah.
Every moment of every... Does this man do anything else?
Yeah.
That is the question.
Yeah.
If so,
whilst
put that man to work.
Yeah. Whilst you're watching Netflix, like tapping is annoying. That's what we need to know. We need to know, when are they doing? Is it when you're sitting reading the book and they're next to you tapping and it's like, okay, that gets annoying.
Yeah. Are they just, or have they got just too much pent up energy and need to go and do something physical, exercise, whatever?
Exactly.
They need to do something. Is there some ADHD?
Which drumming helps with, but yeah.
Yeah. No. But in this case, it stresses our, I've forgotten how old, female out.
27.
27-year-old female. So, am I the jerk for being annoyed at this? Or should I try and find a compromise that allows him to drum without making our home feel like a perpetual drum circle? I mean, that's quite an achievement. Fair do. Fair do, my dude. Before there is an update, have we given our current opinions before I read this update? So yeah, what are your current opinions? I think we've
kind of discussed it. I think it's context that it depends how much they're doing it, when they're doing it. Like is is she going to bed at 10 p.m. because she works early and he's drumming at 10:30 when they're in bed, or is it like just when they're doing other things that doesn't matter so much? As of right now,
I don't think they're an a-hole, because they're like, I want to support their passion. I want them to do these things. I'm just going insane. Which is valid.
However, not at my expense.
So, the update. Are we ready for this? This is equally as long as the initial message. Update. I finally mustered up the courage to sit down with my boyfriend and have an honest conversation about how this constant drumming was affecting our relationship. Unfortunately, it didn't go as smoothly as I'd hoped. Apparently, he stumbled upon my Am I an a-hole post and felt hurt that I had air our private grievances online. Yow! This constant drumming was his coping mechanism for dealing with the stress and tension in our relationship.
That was caused by him drumming in the first place.
Let's go with communication issues. Let's go with both of you need to talk to each other. To say I was blindsided would be an understatement, clearly. The discussion escalated, and in the heat of the moment, we both said things we probably shouldn't have. Long story short, we decided to call it quits. Oh my god! The breakup was explosive, filled with slammed doors and shattered drumsticks, quite literally. God damn, my dude. No need for that. Christ. What I want to know, I want the neighbours' account of this, because it's just going to be an onslaught of there was just a lot of drumming and then a lot of violent drumming, so I don't really know what's changed, but something has. What's even more shocking is that he confessed that he had been contemplating ending things too. What? But this post pushed him to confront the issues head on. It turns out we were both harbouring resentment, and the post brought everything to the surface. I have a feeling this was not meant to be.
Nothing to do with drumming, and also the drumming was the trigger, not the cause, right?
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. It was catalyst. You're irritated already, and you were finding anything that they're doing irritating.
Yes, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
I don't know if either or both are a-holes in this situation. More, you need some communication skills, my dudes.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that's it. Or go to therapy.
We're ending on us. Yeah. Therapy. That is the answer. Not less drumming. Therapy.
Yeah.
However, drums, finger drumming, is cheaper. Not gonna lie. If we're being real. But anyway, we aren't sponsored by anyone to do with therapy. So go get therapy from undescribed, undisclosed therapy-related companies, which have been, if you want to talk to us, We're right here.
Yeah.
But with a place called how can I reword it? Improved assistance. It's not BetterHelp, it's improved assistance.
Okay. Improved assistance.
Am I the a-hole for being only 5 minutes late to a gig? Yes. There we go.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. However, I will read the rest of it, but I probably don't need to. There might be a good reason, but if you phoned ahead, okay. It is what it is. If your gig's 2 hours away, fine. I'm getting too
Before we go any further, though, with that, what does 5 minutes late to the gig mean? Does that mean 5 minutes late to sound check, or is the gig starting 5 minutes ago? Because that ain't 5 minutes late. That's 2 or 3 hours late.
Yes,
exactly. They're two very different things right
there.
So this depends what late, what part of the gig are we late to? If you're late to being on stage, I mean, that's just... Yeah, let's go.
I feel like I'm about to eat my words. Right, 27-year-old male, have been the drummer for our band for several years. Admittedly, I've had a chronic issue with punctuality, and it's been a source of tension within the group. No. I've been late to practices more times than I can count, and my bandmates have repeatedly expressed their frustration. Oh my god, don't tell Alona about this episode. She will have words to say. Not about me, but I'm not saying anything else. We recently landed a massive gig at a popular venue, and we were all stoked. The stakes were high, and I knew I had to step up my game. I set multiple alarms and even asked a friend to call me to ensure I wouldn't oversleep. Unfortunately, despite my best efforts, I was still 5 minutes late to the gig. What? This is what I don't get. This isn't just you, my dude. This is any late
musicians.
Person. I just don't get it. I've had it explained to me by people who are chronically late. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I get
How
it.
How can you be that every time?
Because you're over
hours ahead.
You're over optimistic about the timings that you can reach with things. So you think, oh, I have time to do, they'll probably be writing a song for the bloody band that they're supposed to be getting a gig to, and they have a moment of inspiration, and they often have inspiration in tight situations where they haven't got lots of time, and then they are optimistic, and that's how it happens a lot of the time. It's different for everybody, obviously, but this is one of the things that happens a lot with creative people.
Don't be so optimistic.
Don't be creative. Don't be optimistic.
Creative. I think, isn't it quite a frequent thing with ADHD as well, where you're just, it's a similar thing, and your sense of time is a bit skew as well. So, okay. All right.
But it doesn't matter. Like
rage.
No, I don't think so, because I was having this conversation. Like, I'm often like this for personal events, meeting people at the pub, right, or something like this, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it's just one person that I'm meeting, I'm not going to be like really super late. But when it's a group of people, I'm just like, half the people turn up. And if you're in France, where I am right now, this is a very common thing.
Steady.
And people often are an hour late or whatever. And I just like, and my girlfriend loves being there, like bang on time. She also doesn't want to go there early. So I'm like, cool, I need to just get there early if we're going to get there on time, kind of thing. Or I'm going to end up pushing it, and I'll do the things that we were just talking about. But when it's a gig and all that, I'm just there so early, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm to the point where I end up getting a ticket on my car because I just don't care. I just need to be there, and I'm there 4 hours early, just sitting there, and like, that's it. Like, and so I don't think there's any excuses unless you have, like, you're traveling from another country, getting a plane, and you're back-to-back gigs, and you just physically couldn't get there because that's different, right? But otherwise,
flights
no
and things
excuses.
like that are kind of out of your control. And also, sometimes if you're like traveling across the country a couple hours, it's still like you can't predict traffic all the time. If you know there's going to be traffic, you can account for it. But in
like
this
really
case,
major things where you get stuck on a motorway and it's like closed for a day, not a lot you can do about that. Like,
and the way you tackle this, in most cases, if you've got a gig, like, you grab that band member on the day, in the morning, and you babysit them. That's what you do.
This is from experience of Alona doing this with Emma.
Oh, no. Not me. Me and her are all good on that front. It's some other people.
There is another member of our band.
There is another member of the band who I love dearly. So much so that he's still in the band after all he's pulled. Anyway, so my bandmates were furious. They argued that this was our most significant opportunity and my tardiness could have jeopardised the entire performance. Correct. They held an impromptu band meeting after the gig and decided that my chronic lateness was too much to handle, especially for such crucial events. Yeah. Yep. That's fair. Now, I find myself kicked out of the band on the verge of what could have been a breakthrough moment for us. I feel devastated, but I can't help wondering if this was the wake-up call I needed to address my punctuality issues. Yes, it probably was. Let's be real. Yeah. Yes. The fact that you're even asking yourself that question means yes, it is. So, am I the a-hole for getting kicked out of the band, or were they too harsh considering it was just a 5-minute delay in the grand scheme of things? When you have a history of being late, you've got to make a point to not be late. And by not be late, I mean early.
If you have a
history of it, you've got to impress these people because you've got to reset their idea of you, which is you're the late one. So you've just got to undo all that stuff, all of it.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah. I feel like, are we calling Bex out right now?
What's
going on? Are we...
she can just try not to laugh. You can come on the mic, Bex. You've been summoned.
The editor, Bex.
Don't
join
cry.
us.
Don't cry. I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's fine. I'm not a drummer. It doesn't matter. But yes, I'm late to many a function.
Yeah, but you've always been really on time with all of our stuff in the entire time that I've known you on more than one project, because you make yourself overly early. Like, you're always in a Zoom meeting 5-10 minutes early than what you need to be, for example. So, like, you've counteracted it like that.
I have the issue of I love to sit and stare at things when I should actually get on with stuff. That's my problem.
Oh dear, that is so
every
funny.
late person I've ever met is like doesn't want to be the late person.
No.
It just
No.
happens.
And the problem with alarms, right? I'm somebody that uses a lot of alarms and have cut back in recent times. They just become noise in the background. Yeah. Like if you use it too much, it actually has no effect. So like it's just pointless. So that's not going to work either. And you have to use that sparingly.
Button if I can't use it.
You can remove that on iPhones. You can remove the snooze button, and then you've got no excuse.
No. Yeah. I'm glad we've got a joint discussion here from multiple perspectives.
Yes.
As someone who actually, you know what, knowing late people has made me less punctual. Not in a bad way, like because I used to be one of those people who was like, I need to be there, otherwise I'm going to lose my mind. And then I was unbelievably early and didn't know what to do with myself. So now it's kind of evened itself out. But
so really, you're grateful for us. Because you can never be late because I'm always late.
I have an appreciation for those taking the hit for me. That one, cool. Yeah. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my girlfriend's kid broke my expensive drum kit and she won't do anything about it? No.
Oh, no.
What?
That is a quick and short answer. What? Absolutely not. No.
Girl, what?
Yeah.
What?
Just no. Yeah.
I mean
we can end it there.
Podcast, isn't it? Yeah.
We don't need any context to that. Zero context.
I mean, shall we find out?
Should we humour them? Okay, let's do that, Emma.
30 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 28 female, for about 6 months. This has been going well. However, she has a 6-year-old from a previous relationship. Last week, while I was at work, her kid managed to get into my music room where I keep my prized and expensive drum kit. The result, a catastrophic collision of drumsticks and curious fingers that left my kit in shambles. What did this child do? Because, like, drums are meant to be hit. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. So it'd be quite a thing. Yeah.
They're not as fragile as guitars either, are they? Like guitar, you can knock over and break the neck, and it's done.
Like, what psychotic really child is this? Are they just an absolute menace? Anyway, when I came home and discovered the wreckage, I was devastated. I've spent years building and customizing that kit, and it's not something that can be easily replaced. Oof. Naturally, I expected my girlfriend to acknowledge the situation and take responsibility for her kid's actions. What do we think happened, ladies and gentlemen? To my surprise, she brushed off the incident, claiming that it was just a child being curious and accidents happen. Correct, accidents do happen. However, as the grown adult in the situation, you have to take responsibility for your child's actions. Do you not, gal? Do better. You're letting the side down. Do better. She argued that he didn't mean any harm and that it's unreasonable for me to expect her to replace and repair the drum kit. Why? It's not. That's a lie. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a lie. I understand that children can be unpredictable. This has nothing to do with the kid, basically. I mean, obviously, talk to them about it, but, this is not that much to do with that child. I understand that children can be unpredictable and accidents do happen. But on the other hand, this drum kit holds sentimental value for me, and I believe that as a parent, she should take some responsibility for her child's actions. She should take almost all the responsibility on this one. Now I'm left wondering if I'm overreacting and being unreasonable for expecting her to do something about it. Am I the a-hole for being upset and wanting her to address the situation, or should I just accept it as an unfortunate event and move on? That is a reflection of how that woman is going to take other events in your relationship. I didn't think that this podcast was going to turn into relationship advice, but here we are. This ain't got nothing to do with drums, got nothing to do with music.
No.
But this gal is currently doing something problematic. Even if she can't financially do anything about it, she should at least be able to acknowledge that is a big, 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 big boo-boo.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you're only 6 months into the relationship, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Chris, I haven't let you have a word.
I'm all in agreement with everything you said. I think that I would have my kid take some responsibility, not from me. I would have overarching responsibility, but I would have to teach them some kind of lesson with that and understanding of what they've done to respect, expensive equipment. As a musician myself, I couldn't let my kid continue to disrespect equipment. Like, that's not cool. So they would have to for sure understand that. But yeah, so there's an update to this. Shall we skip on to the update? Okay.
Again, another lengthy update. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who provided input on perspective on my situation. Was most of it, check this woman? Your comments made me realise that it's essential to approach kinds of issues with open communication and understanding. Yes. After careful consideration, I decided to sit down with my girlfriend and have a calm, honest conversation about the incident. I explained to her that the sentimental value of my drum kit held for me and the emotional attachment I had to it. I expressed my belief that it was crucial for her to take some responsibility in addressing the situation, even if it was just talking to her child about respecting other people's belongings. Surprisingly, our conversation went better than expected. My girlfriend acknowledged my feelings and admitted she hadn't fully grasped the importance of the drum kit to me. She apologised for not being more proactive and finding a solution.
Oh, look
you
at
know
that.
what? That does raise quite an interesting point, because a lot of people don't fully grasp the cost and emotional attachment to instruments if you're not a musician.
Sure.
Mostly the cost.
Yeah. And the even replacing those things that only came out in the 80s, and there's 1,000 of them, and it's kind of really hard to even get that snare drum again, for example, right?
I am skeptical of this though, because how much can a child damage a drum kit to the point where it's like this broken? But anyway, we agreed.
I mean, I'm just going to quickly interject there. I've had some students in the past that have wrecked stuff, just wrecked it, got lighters out and tried to light things, and so that can happen. They're only 6 years old, but that could have been lying on the side. If this parent, but if this parent's irresponsible already and has stuff lying around that they've got a hammer and they've just started smashing at it, that's not unheard of. I've heard of this with the amount of people that we've taught over the years. This has come up. I'm not going to give specifics, but that stuff is
it happens.
Yeah, trust me, it can.
We agreed to work together to find compromise. While she isn't able to replace the drum kit exactly, she offered to contribute financially to its repair or to help me find alternative solutions.
Okay.
We also discussed implementing some ground rules for her child's interaction with my musical equipment to prevent similar incidents in the future. Good.
Great.
In the end, the situation became an opportunity for us to strengthen our communication
what a lovely
and
story.
understanding. I appreciate everyone's advice in helping me navigate this delicate issue. A happy ending. Everyone go,
There we go.
That poor man and his poor drum kit.
I think that's a good one to finish up on.
Have you got any Am I the A-hole stories that we should know about that you want us to read and comment on? Then send them to us. We're right here. Do it. We promise we won't be too judgmental. Well, we might be. I can't tell you if we won't be. But, hey, it'll be fun. I hope. Maybe.